An inspector calls responsibility. If there is a single theme that is essential to grasp in order to really understand the play, it's the idea of responsibility. The words responsible or responsibility are mentioned 15 times through the course of the play and consistently indirectly referred to through its other events. Therefore, responsibility is at the very heart of the play's core message and is articulated by the inspector in Act 3 with his final speech. Here, as elsewhere in the play, the inspector is acting as Priestley's mouthpiece, echoing the playwright's socialist ideals. Essentially, through the characters' actions and attitudes, Priestley is attempting to convey to his audience the need for them, us, to take greater care of those who are less well off. In other words, to behave in a more careful, thoughtful and empathetic manner. At the start of the play, the Burling family, along with Gerald, are depicted as being complacent and self-satisfied. This is particularly the case with Mr. Burling, who explicitly comes out against ideas of responsibility. In his speech at the table, it is clear that he only really cares about money and making sure that the rich, like him, stay rich at the expense of the working class. A little later, to Gerald and Eric, he doubles down and asserts that a person should only ever have to think of themselves. He makes critical remarks about community and all that nonsense, and labels those who think we should take care of one another as cranks. Tellingly, it is at this point that the doorbell rings to announce the arrival of the inspector, who will go on to demonstrate how wrong and dangerous such prejudicial attitudes like Mr. Burling's are. Each character is shown by the inspector/Priestley how they have behaved irresponsibly in their dealings with Eva Smith and how their selfish actions had consequences. Mr. Burling and Sheila by having her thoughtlessly sacked, Gerald and Eric using Eva for their own lustful ends, whilst Mrs. Burling denies her simple charity. Crucially, Sheila and Eric accept responsibility and are ashamed by what they have done. They sincerely vow to change their ways. Their parents, however, refuse to do so and insist, particularly after the inspector is shown to be a hoax, that they have done nothing morally wrong. Gerald seems to accept at first his responsibility for the death of Eva, but once the inspector's deception is proven, slips back into his old ways of thinking and sides with the elder Burlings. This is disappointing for the audience, but also ironic, since Gerald was the only one who did try to take some care of Eva by rescuing her from the unwanted attentions of Joe Meggerty and then giving her somewhere to stay for a while. Given that Sheila and Eric do learn the lessons of being more responsible, whilst their parents do not, Priestley seems to be suggesting that hope for the future lies with the younger generation. The older generation are too set in their ways and are either unwilling or unable to make the necessary changes. This difference between the generations isn't automatically the case though, as the example of Gerald warns us. Therefore, behaving in a responsible manner takes effort and vigilance. But if it were to happen, then society would be more equal, united and happier. That's the prize Priestley wants us to grasp in order to make a better tomorrow.